Welcome back. During his nearly 2-hour press conference yesterday, which really was a feat in itself, when you think about 2 hours, it may not have served him well, but at least he was on a long time.
Exactly.
Defensive President Biden blasted the GOP with this line of thinking.
I did not anticipate that there'd be such a stalwart effort to make sure that the most important thing was that President Biden didn't get anything done. Think about this. What are Republicans for? What are they for? Name me one thing they're for.
So how will Republicans respond as we head towards the 2022 midterm elections? Joining us to discuss, retired gunnery sergeant from the U.S. Marine Corps and Newsmax contributor Jessie Jane Duff, and host of Stacy on the Right and Project 21 co-chair Stacy Washington. Thank you both for joining us. Stacy, I'll start with you. You know, what do Republicans need to do? Because not only did he say Republicans don't stand for anything, he said there are 5 Senate Republicans, I think, that agree with him, and that if they would, unless they're worried about being primaried, otherwise they would come forward and they would say that they support President Biden and his agenda.
Well, first of all, I think it's really interesting that President Biden does not consult the party platform that he represents, which is for the Democrats, and then compare it to the GOP party platform for the Republicans, and understand that this is an issue of him not actually being in touch with what he represents. The Republicans don't support his agenda because it is diametrically opposed to their agenda. And it is exactly the same. In fact, it's much more tame than the resist movement that existed during the Trump administration. So what are Republicans for? A solid border, a good domestic policy, excellent foreign policy, eliminating inflation, reinvigorating our energy industry. So many things that President Biden is not for, which is why he's not getting support.
Yeah, and Jesse, we know what Democrats are for, spending money that isn't theirs, it's all of ours. But how would you answer the president? What are Republicans for?
Well, the first thing I would say is name the 5 Republicans, because that was a bold-faced lie. There aren't 5 senators out there that are supporting his agenda, that are worried about being primaried. If they're worried about being primaried, that tells you everything right there, that their constituents are against Joe Biden's agenda, number 1. Number 2, we have record-breaking inflation right now. In 40 years, we have never seen inflation like this. Republicans are against record-breaking inflation because you know what inflation is? It's a tax on the middle class and the poor. Although Joe Biden tries to claim that he has raised wages, they're not in step with that of inflation, number 1. Number 2, energy independence. He wiped us off of energy independence, and now we are all at the gas pump weeping as we fill our tanks. We want our stock full. We want to have our supply chain resolved. We don't want to go to the store and have to find empty shelves. I mean, the list goes on and on. We don't want 2 million illegals over here. We don't want human trafficking. We don't want drug lords profiting off of the backs of Americans. Everything Joe Biden supports is pretty much what the Republicans had conquered and accomplished in the previous administration, and he contradicted it and sent us backwards. This is the year anniversary, and it's been a slippery slope ever since.
Yeah, you notice there was nobody there to answer his question, right?
Right.
What do Republicans stand for? I mean, it's not like anybody's going to stand up. I'll tell you what they stand for.
Yeah. Stacy, a final word on this, and then we're going to go.
Well, I mean, as Jesse said, we have a number of issues that are facing our country that were resolved before this administration started, and now we need to get them resolved again.